back, AKAPADers. What a crazy week, but I'm happy to be talking to all of you from my champagne room. Welcome to the channel. Peter A. DeLuca here, AKAPAD69, and always known through the multiverse as the Eclectic One. People, what a wild week. I'll tell you more about that, but let's get into like a new fascination. I think this is going to be a deep dive because I'm fascinated. I'm really fascinated. I'm so into what I'm about to show you. You guys, we're doing good with the last review video, Guardians of the Galaxy first appearance. Today, right here, right now, in a couple moments, we're going to discuss the first appearance of Rocket Raccoon and why. Well, look, Guardians of the Galaxy dropped today, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. We're not really doing this to hype up the movie. We're not even doing this to say we're excited for the movie. Because, honestly, I'm really not. And I'm also kind of tired of everyone calling 3 movies a trilogy. Like, 3 movies in a row is not a trilogy. A trilogy is a storyline that's set up in the first, second, and third movie, and then we have a payoff in the third movie. 3 sequels together is not a trilogy. With that being said, we have a ton of Guardians of the Galaxy content coming. We're going to be rolling these out all the way into Monday. But the point I wanted to get at is the reason why I'm going to do this deep dive, and I don't know how much money I'm going to spend doing it, but it really wasn't until this era, like the 2000s, where the term Rocket Raccoon actually meant something. People, this is like I think it's 1976, Guardians of the Galaxy 1969, and it's 2023, and we're discussing this franchise right now. Like in the terms of it being like a permanent comic book staple. But holy crap, the journey took a long time. And when you go through the appearances of Rocket Raccoon, we have right here, we have like Incredible Hulk, we have Quasar 15, that amazing like Magnolia cover, and it's only a few other from that point, including his 4-issue miniseries right here. It's insane. In maybe like 35, 40 years, Rocket Raccoon only appeared in about 10 to 12 comics. It's awesome. And I think here on this channel, we're going to collect them all. We're going to document them all. We're going to put some time into it. Because Rocket Raccoon, even I would say like at this point, more than Groot, has really become just like a staple of the Marvel universe. Not just Marvel Cinematic Universe, but Marvel Universe in all. He truly is a character that people love. And you might say, well, people love the James Gunn version of Rocket Raccoon. Not at all. The version of Rocket Raccoon that we get right here, it's the same Rocket. You think I'm crazy? Let's have a look. Bingo bango. Cheers to all of you. We got some midnight coffee right here. Yeah, so let's just review a little bit of what we have done. The amazingly penciled Gene Colan first appearance of Guardians of the Galaxy, with a Yondu and a whistle arrow, which that really blew my mind when I read this. See, Yondu, whistle arrow. Tonight, right here, right now, with all of you, we have the first appearance of Rocket Raccoon. Now, after this, we're going to have the Star-Lord painted Dane Lawless 3-issue miniseries written by the immensely talented Timothy Zahn. Largely forgotten. That's coming up. After that, we will detail my favorite issues of Guardians of the Galaxy, the 1990 year 4000, I believe. The original Guardians is year 3000. This is 10,000 years after that. Don't mark my words on that. I may have to double check some of that. And then Also, we will have the Rocket Racoon 4-issue miniseries. Here we go. Marvel Preview presents Satana number 7, $1 cover price. All new Night Brings the Devil's Daughter. Extra. Here we go. The quest for the sword in the star continues in which world? So we're at, within this issue, we're at one installment of Satana, and then we're at which world, which is part 2. So if you're not familiar with how these books, how these magazines look, I got myself a beautiful reader copy, by the way. Gray tones, largely illustrated, and by that I mean big panels, different rendering techniques, grayscaling, zipper tones, white. We have ink wash. I almost said whitewash there. I don't know why, but you can kind of see like more illustrated. Okay. You might be like, Pete, all comic books are illustrated. Yeah, but these magazines with Marvel during this time had an emphasis on fantasy illustration. So something very intelligent is done here. We have, look, by Chris Claremont, we have this write-up about, Satana, the history of the character, where the ideas of the story we just flipped through came from, some of the inspirations, The Exorcist. But so we get that for our next story. Just little over a year ago today, The Sword in the Star, illustrated by Terry Austin. We have a complete documentation of how this story came about. And it really is just like, look, lack of a better term, it's two professional friends had a conversation. They waited, they mapped out their time, and they kind of waited for the right opportunity to drop this story. And what exactly is the story? Well, we're at part 2, but look, people, this is what I mean by being illustrative. Amazing. It's amazing just to look at this. Art by Keith Griffin, right here. Art by Keith Griffin. Bill Mantlo is our illustrator. Keith Griffin would have one of the most illustrious illustration careers in comic book history. The techniques, the brushwork, they kind of call this a Kirby crackle. It's a little bit of a back and forth between straight India ink and whiteout. He's great at doing these effects, and these effects pull us into the story right away. Now, along the way, because we're dealing with a younger Keith Griffin, a younger artist, we have scale problems. What I mean by that is we really, like, some of the spaceships don't exactly communicate in scale. This is also immensely difficult to do in black and white only. Keith Griffin, being a young illustrator, is also very experimentational and aggressive with his paneling. With all of that said, this is a fantastic, fun, silly read that, believe it or not, is on par with Star Wars, because this is what science fiction writing was at the time. And Star Wars separated itself from everything, from the look, the acting, the music, and the villain. That's what separated Star Wars from even this. But we have a prince, we have a dead father, we have a planet that was destroyed, and we have a robot assistant, which is so common during this time in fiction. We have some background. We have most of this is just basically our protagonist and our robot kind of going through the procession of the funeral, the rites of the song. They kind of make references to being able to sing and release the soul into the great beyond. And we have a lot of these. We have a lot of these almost like third eye effects. And this is what I was saying earlier, like with the zipper tone. But I just want to sit here for a little bit so you can soak in what the layout is, because it gets a little bit more aggressive. We pull the sword, we define the hero's power, we open up a portal, we go through the portal, and we identify an alien world. And here we go. By all gods that be, boom. So this is which world. They describe which world with a just this chaotic atmosphere. It has living life within it, but you kind of just have to break through some of these atmospheric barriers. Not exactly easy. Now, you can kind of see what I mean a little bit by the scale, and also we're in space and drawing scale in space in black and white. It's another level to that difficulty. But real quick, we get to this panel here, this panel sequence here, and this panel sequence here, where again he almost has this third eye, where when they land on this witch world and he washes up to the shore just like the dude from Watchmen, and he sees the beauty, he sees nature in a particular way, and exactly what he's doing there is not very clear. That may have been in our previous episode. They don't do too great of a job in prefacing that. But he goes through the brush of this alien world, and we see highly illustrated forest. He gets attacked by a tree, but before he gets attacked by this tree, we hear coming through this a zipper tone. I wouldn't if I were you. Right here. I wouldn't if I were you. And that is the first words ever uttered by Rocket Raccoon in a comic book. Our hero fights off a tree with a giant mouth, smashes his super sword into the tree, gets sap everywhere. You see like the sword powering up. Right? This is just, again, like straight up fantasy. And then we get Rocket Raccoon. Rocket Raccoon's here. And if you listen... if you read the dialogue of Rocket Raccoon, we're like almost listening to James Gunn dialogue here. That old tree used to obtain fish for me, and if you don't mind me saying, you don't look much of a replacement, old bean. Like again, like throwing insults. It sounded like he's from Brooklyn. Allow me to caution you against your use of pejoratives, old man. Animal I may be, but if you claim to be an example of the top of the evolutionary ladder, again, like throwing around insults, he pulls the super sword from the tree sap, and then we get a alarm that goes off from our robot assistant whose design that I love. But you guys can see it's a silhouetted, evil-looking reptilian creature. Wait until you guys see this design. Here it is. It's got almost these like Apocalypse Kirby smokestacks. He's reptilian but looks rocky. He's got smoking fingers. His name is Plegosaur. And you can't tell from here, but if you see this, again, aggressive paneling, his tail it's just like, but his tail is shooting out this exhaust, and it's creating the panel borders. But we have a fight. Rocket Raccoon is blasting him along the way. So again, Rocket is Rocket from page 1, panel 1, and essentially they win. It implodes. We have our Kirky. We have she's almost like she's this character here. She's coming off a little bit like a woman of the forest, like maybe like not really like an elf, but like a Mother Nature, like a Gia type character. But yeah, and then all of her cohorts here, they have issues. They know Rocket Raccoon. They all have issues with them. Accursed Raccoon, long have we suspected you of poaching in the Mistress Forest. And he goes, a man must live even if he's a raccoon. This is just like the Rocket from the movies. And we wrap it up with our hero and Rocket pretty much at the mercy of our new heroes or villains. And then we're going into part 2 already. And here's the thing. So when it comes to like YouTube, when it comes to everything you guys see me do, like I'm always reminding you to subscribe, support, and leave comments. And if that comes off as cheesy or unauthentic or just weird, and if those are things you don't like doing, here's the importance of that. Because right here, Marvel writes, this is the second installment of Sword in the Star, and maybe the last. Only your letters and mostly your support can bring it back for a third try. It's up to you, pilgrims. And like that's no different than me asking you guys to subscribe, support, and promote the channel, because we need feedback, we need interaction, and we need ways to know the work that we're doing, if it's likable, right? If it lands. So with the introduction of this episode, I was saying that like I'm kind of going down like a deep dive, because I don't know if Marvel Preview Presents Santana number 8, if that features Rocket Raccoon, or if it does, if this even continues. Like, we don't really know. But when it comes to, like, I just want to touch on some of the illustration techniques here real quick. Let me use my the arm of my sunglasses. So we're dealing with a forest, and kind of what should be done here, like some of this brush here should be a little bit darker, a little bit more solid, and then the brush being or the shadows or the darkness being, or like more or less the shade through the trees and through the branches, like it should fade with layered line work. And with all of that being said, though, the illustration techniques here and layering can only be improved by better blacks and thicker lines, like the flowers and some of the blades of grass here, like should be a little bit more tougher, more designed, a little bit more jagged. But everything lands here, and that's because the baseline understanding that Keith Giffen has in separating his forms and creating negative space. We still see the different planes that everything exists on. We see the spread, we can separate the characters, and we're not overwhelmed, and the eye is not confused. Very important things for anyone out there illustrating, young or old. A lot of times we get so focused on completing the image, we get lost in the sauce. And this is a great example of showing restraint. He backed off, and he didn't quite like swing for the fences, we'll call it. It's conservative, and it freaking works. And I do love some of like these designs of her like animal cohorts. There's like this tiger dude here. Like, it's just the tiger dude, right, was chasing Rocket over here. Like, it's just fun, and it's just wild. And people, I'm just like surprised that I was even able to get this affordably. This should be a $1,000 issue just based on the popularity of Rocket. Like when you understand that and you read this, and it is Rocket in this issue, it is a true first appearance, and it's also a first appearance in the idea and the concept of the character, which truly hasn't changed. Like a lot of our favorite characters, even like Wolverine, it took them a while to nail down like what that persona was. Not for Rocket. We're back, people. It's late. I'm doing a lot of things to get another video on Thursday out to you guys, and the reason for this is because relatively from this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 0 video drops, and that's because and I have referenced this before. We had some out-of-towners into the 9 to 5, and that really, we had a lot of work, but we also had like team building and bonding activities together, mostly consisting of staying out all night, drinking, and doing things that grown men hope that their wives don't find out about. All of you, all my AKAPADers, I hope to have nights like that with each of you one by one. No joke. If you're in Philly, hit me up. But no, and I always, like, this year, like year after year, it was always a goal to do video, like daily video rollouts. And holy crap, once I fell into the rhythm of doing that this year, I knew I could unlock like all my cylinders, meaning we're doing one podcast a day, AKAPAD the Film Buff, We're doing one video a day. We're live streaming, hopefully every other day, and we're kind of like drawing and designing and dealing with our freelance clients every single day. And all that is there right now, and all your support, everything. I am so effing flattered. We do have a collection of comics and the free downloads on AKAPAD.com. We're going to be dropping stickers. All of these things are just a couple steps away from just being revealed and discussed and then spoken about. But weeks like this, though, it's like, like I have to put everything into weeks like this because the payout going throughout the year really opens me up for more of this and more time with all of you. So AKA Padders, I really thank you for sticking with me. You might be saying to yourself, wow, Pete, it's only 3 days, it's okay, don't come down on yourself. That's not how we do things around here. That's not what we discuss. That's not our approach. Our approach is never let your foot off the gas no matter what. And it took years to get to the point of being able to drop videos as regular as I have been. So I do not want to slow down. I will never slow down, mark my words. So a part of moving forward the next couple of days, it's me doubling up and maybe even tripling up on videos, because we do have news and we do have upcoming comic book content, and I gotta do a couple of things also with Wildstorm Wednesday. So it's just a lot of stuff. But hey, all of you, love you guys so much. Subscribe, support, leave a comment. That's a free way of supporting me. It's free. You can support me with a donut. I appreciate it. Love you guys. Rock and roll.